This episode is sponsored by Phrase Flowers, a Western New York family-run flower farm and floral preservationist. They now offer unique pressed flowers in the shapes of buffaloes in prints with different sizes that come in handmade wooden frames. Be on the lookout for the Bills, Sabres, and Bandits colored buffaloes soon.
You can get a hold of them on their website at phraseflowers.com. That's Frase flowers.com. Or check them out on Facebook and Instagram. Bring more joy and color into your life at Phrase Flowers.
What's up, everyone, and welcome into the Buffalo Sports Collective. It is Thursday, May 15th, 2025. As always, I'm PK alongside my co-host Phil. Episode 360. It is finally time. We're breaking down our possible final preview of this season for the NLL. It's a jam-packed show. It's a Bandits only episode. We got rid of our Buffalo Sabres stuff on the last two episodes. It's Bandits only. They know they're taking on Saskatchewan Friday night in Banditland. They head to Saskatchewan on Sunday for Game 2. And if the series is split after two games, they are headed back to Banditland next Saturday at 4:30 in the afternoon. So you get to party extra long if they do go to Game 3. So this is a possibility that for the first time in three completed seasons, that the trophy will not be raised in Buffalo. I asked that question in the last episode, but it's we'll get our predictions, our score predictions, and if we even see a Game 3. But on a scale of 1 to 10, before we dive into it, what is your level of confidence Buffalo is going to walk out either in Game 2 or 3 as a three-peat champion?
I feel like this is a homer number and a bit high, but right now I'm feeling an 8. Even thinking about this matchup and thinking about the rest of the teams in the league headed into playoffs. Obviously, the Bandits are the top of the league for a reason. Again, 5 straight finals, looking for a three-peat, but it seems like, in a weird way, everybody is kind of in that rebuild, like the entire rest of the league in a weird way, except maybe like a team like San Diego that has the veteran pieces. They all seem like they're rebuilding in some way or another, and they're either ahead of schedule to be in playoffs or a little bit behind schedule. Like, I was thinking about the Rush as a team as a whole, and they have a lot of solid veteran pieces. They have a lot of really talented players that will get over. Will, go over their goalie who's been around for a while. But to me, they're still like in kind of a rebuild, and they're still a little bit ahead of schedule. I don't know if they necessarily expected to be in this position. Whereas you see the Bandits have the extreme veteran pieces, like their whole team, as we've talked about for years now. Like, that lineup has not changed. Yes, you've added some rookie defensemen. Yes, you've had, a few big trade deadline accusations to bring some players, bring some other talent in, but for the most part, the core and that main team of the Bandits has been there for years, and no other team in the league has really been that established as the Bandits currently are. And yes, the Bandits haven't had to do anything because they keep winning, so keep running that back, but I just feel like no one else is really at that point. And even with the Rush, as talented as they are, I just feel like when you look at how they stack up against the Bandits are just the team. They are here, it's their window. This is their time. And I feel like it's just really difficult right now to take it away from them.
Yeah, I'll put it at a 6.5. I think it was at an 8 going into round 2 because I was like, well, I should say as they left round 2 and, Saskatchewan and Halifax were going to a Game 2, I had it probably at an 8. And then the way I saw Saskatchewan play against Halifax was just a really, really good team. It went down to like a 6.5, so I'll put it around there. I'm not going to spoil my predictions whatsoever moving forward, but I do think that this is a different type of series than I was anticipating thinking it was before the Vancouver series. And you can kind of go back and listen to our episodes where we were kind of saying this is kind of like the finals. Whoever gets out of this matchup between Buffalo and Vancouver, I think ends up being the champion. Now, I still think that. That's why I got it at a 6 or a 6.5. If I didn't think they would win, it would be under a 5. But I do think that just because Buffalo has beat them in the past, I don't want the newer fans or fans that do not listen to this show or do not take in other content from the NLL just to think, okay, they've beat them before, or they're two-time champions, they've been to the finals five straight completed seasons, that Buffalo is going to have that competitive edge, because as we'll get into it, there's a lot more to it than just past history. But we'll start to dive into it now. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. Don't forget to follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website at buffalosportscollective.com. It was a quieter week here in the BSC. No articles, but that could change and likely will change next week. You can check out our store on our link tree on our social media sites or at the top of the website by hitting the shop tab. You can represent the BSC on the go. And there will be no time breakdowns in the description of the show because it's just Buffalo Bandits. Some awards have been handed out. We're recording this around 5:15 on Wednesday, so we only have a certain amount of awards. We'll react to the rest of them next week, which will be extra late because we'll be recording on Monday. The episode will air on Tuesday because of the late Sunday game. Thank you, NLL, for screwing everything up with our schedule. I hate you. But the awards so far, this one was not shocking to me, but the more I thought about it, it is shocking. So the GM was handed to Derek Keenan. I think he deserved it. I still think that there were other willing combatants that weren't nominated that could have been up for the award, but a massive congratulations to him. I believe I saw it was the 4th time he's won the GM of the Year award. The head coach one, I did say that John Tavares should have been at least a finalist for this. A lot of other people did as well. But it went to Jimmy Quinlan. And we both said it was likely going to be Jimmy Quinlan because a lot of times it's based on past years and what you do this year. And he took the team to 13-5. The biggest question I have here is, why wasn't it a co-head coach award? Because Derek Keenan is also, according to everything I've seen, unless something magically changed, he is also a co-head coach. So I don't know what exactly transpired there. You remember back in 2019, I think it was, with John Tavares and Rich Kilgore. They were co-head coaches. They won co-head coach of the year. I just don't know what changed with this aspect of it. I'm not that broken up over it. It was just a little confusing to me what happened there.
Yeah, he got his own award for GM. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's one of those things where, like, beginning of the season, they didn't announce that that's what they were going to be doing, or, like, officially kind of like the Ian McKay is, labeled as a transition player, so you have to treat him as that for awards. Maybe he's just labeled as the GM, even though he is coaching as well. Maybe it wasn't official that he was going to be a co-coach, so he's not necessarily labeled as a co-coach according to the league, so then you kind of got to treat it as it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I think he won his own award, and I think he's probably very happy with that. And I think he can probably internally, they might share the award, and he might, jokingly call it up and be like, hey, that's my award as well. Maybe they'll cut it in half. Who knows? But there were a few other awards that also got announced, if you want to keep going.
Yeah, Jason Thorne from Vancouver won Executive of the Year. I think what they're doing out in Vancouver is massive, but I think a lot of that behind-the-scenes stuff is the Jason Thorne, and then in front of the cameras it's more Kurt Malowski and what he's bringing to this organization, but it is a team effort, so I do think he deserved this one. Keegan Bell, if you listen to Morning Shoot-Around, he was on that. He was a fan favorite of that show. Everything that he was saying, everybody around the league absolutely loves him, so he won Teammate of the Year. Kyle Buchanan, first time since 2015 that he has won this award, and first time in a long time that somebody besides the name of Lyle Thompson won this award. He had won it 6 straight times, but Kyle Buchanan, Sportsmanship of the Year, that was one that we didn't really touch on because we're not involved in the league. We're not in the locker rooms. We don't judge that kind of stuff. But the biggest one I want to talk about, and we kind of hammered it home last episode or the one before it as you're hearing the dogs bark in the background. Tom Borelli, the Tom Borelli Media Person of the Year award. we said that we couldn't really down talk the other people that were up for the award, and never would we down talk any other content creators or anybody else in the media, because they are what is helping the league grow and take it to the next steps. And I think Teddy and Mackie were great finalists as well, and both of them deserve the award as well, even though I gave Teddy a hard time saying you've already won two, let somebody else win one. But John Gertler, I said before the season, I finally nailed a bold prediction. We don't have to wait till the end of the season. John Gertler finally, after 400 some odd straight games, after 30 plus years with the Buffalo Bandits, wins the Tom Borelli Media Person of the Year award. I don't think it could have gone to a better person and a more deserving person. It's long overdue.
Yeah, and Lacrosse Classified also mentioned this as well, that like this award might not just be for this year alone. It's kind of more the embodiment of his entire work. It wasn't that he did anything different other than his extremely high standards he has every single season. So like this year he didn't go out of his way to do something extra special to win it, but I think it's his whole body of work that he finally just got enough attention around the league that, yeah, this guy still doesn't have one. He should have gotten one probably years ago. It's his time to finally earn it, and he rightfully deserves it. Extremely happy that he was able to get it. For the Bandits kind of snubs that they didn't win awards or weren't nominated for, I am happy that Gertler and Buchanan was able to dethrone Lyle. But Gertler is probably the biggest one to win. Like if there was any award that could have gone to any Bandit, whether it be for executive, whether Johnny would have gotten and should have gotten nominated at least for head coach, like out of all of them, I think I would have wanted Gertler to win. Like if we could only pick one winner from the Bandits organization, I would have wanted to be Gertler. So thrilled for him and very deserving.
Yeah, there's many other awards that are going to be announced on Thursday and Friday, including first team NLL, rookie team, all that other jazz that we don't have right now. So you'll learn before you hear it on this show what the winners are and our opinions on it. The only other thing I really want to address really quick before we dive into it is Adam Levy is stepping away from the NLL and the media content creation of lacrosse for a while. We just had him on the show, 2 weeks ago, I think it was, for an interview. So I'm very thankful and happy that he was able to take some time to jump on with us before he did decide to step away. Without knowing all the details behind it, I just want him to know, if somehow he ends up with this in his ears, that I truly do appreciate him coming on the show. I truly appreciate everything that he added to the sport. There is no other, and I said it, and we named it Man, Myth, Legend, Adam Levy. There is no other Adam Levy in this sport. I referenced him to Adam Schefter. He is the Adam Schefter of the NLL. There's nobody else like it. Did he ruffle some feathers around the league? Yeah, but guess what? If you want to be a big boy league, that's what comes with it. Like, if you don't like what he's saying, guess what? Grow thicker skin. This is what it is when you have a legit sports team. We come on the show, we criticize things all the time. Skin off our back. I don't care if you disagree with my opinions. I don't care if you call me an idiot. Guess what? Water off my back. Do not care. I wish people that want this league to take that next step that everybody says is the next major league actually preaches what is it the saying? Does what they preach, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I just wish more people around the league would be okay and understand that there's going to be differences in opinions, that not everything that's coming out of the league is going to be happy and roses and everything that's nice and glowing about this league, because there's plenty of other things in this league that need to take that next step, that need to be better. We've called it out multiple times, and Adam Levy, since he walked away from the NLL and became more of an independent guy, I think he has taken that extra next step. And did he ruffle some feathers? Sure, but you got to ruffle some feathers if you actually want to take that next step. So I am going to miss him. Speaking personally, I'm definitely going to miss him around the league. There's going to be a big, massive void in that area that I hope somebody is able to take it and run with it. You're not going to be at Adam Levy, but you can be your own type of thing and kind of be that next wave that this league desperately needs, because with the loss of Adam Levy, it's a massive, massive loss for this league and the growth of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to call him to the NLL, not to us, but if you want to call him a necessary evil, I think that needs to exist. And like you said, in order to be a big boy sport, like the drama comes with it. And that's what fans want. Like nobody wants in a way you want a perfectly run league, but if there's no drama, no leaks of anything. I mean, look at the NFL. They leak things 9,000 times a year. I mean, the stupid schedule that we're waiting on, like game one, like, oh, here could be your week one opponent. I saw a leak and somebody leaked the schedule. Like, for some reason, the schedule is a whole different thing. I could care less about that. But fans eat that stuff up. Like, that's what fans want. That brings attention to the sport. That brings excitement among the fans, whether it's not, NLL sanctioned per se, but that's what gets the fans talking either to each other or to themselves about the game. Like, the NFL finds a way to stay in your ear the entire, year round, whether it's the draft, whether it's camps, whether it's the stupid schedule, but it's all because like things are leaked, there's drama behind the scenes. That's what people like to see. Like that's what builds sports and builds talking about the sport and getting it out there. And Adam did an incredible job always having that information. Like even on draft day, like who were you following the most? It was him. It was his channel. Like you're just like, I was sitting there refreshing his Twitter page the entire NLL draft. Like, oh, what's this trade going to be? What's this going to be?
The offseason with Panther City, what was going on with them? Like literally anything that went down in the NLL, especially this last year, once he went and was more solo than just working for the league. There's nobody like Adam, and it's like I said, it's going to leave a massive void in the league, and I really hope and wish all the best for him. I wish there's going to be great things that come from Adam Levy the rest of his career, the rest of his life. I'm a very sad and a bit angry that it's not going to come with the sport and the league of the NLL. And like I said, how do I phrase this? The league needs to be more transparent, and Adam was trying to do that, and it made some people angry. And guess what? That's the only way you're going to grow the sport. If you want to keep being this bottom dweller of a league, you can keep doing what has been going on for the last 35 years. But if you want to actually grow this league and take that next step, there needs to be more Adam Levys in this sport than less of them, because the less there are, the less you're going to be recognized and the less time you're going to have to grow.
I even remember the first time he talked about stepping away, and you and I behind the scenes were like, oh no, like if he leaves, that's going to be massive for the sport. And then when he said he was sticking around lacrosse, like, all right, good. Like we need him, and we need him to be around this sport. And here we are again, where he is, sounds like officially stepping away. So we're right back to there. Like you said, there's going to be a massive void, and hopefully someone can pick it up. And like you said, somebody can run with it, but he's absolutely going to be missed.
So we wish him all the best, whatever he's got going on, but there's going to be great things, continued great things coming from Adam Levy, whether it's in this sport, whether it's in something completely different. Just wish him all the best, and I hope he knows that we appreciate everything that he did. I really appreciate him taking the time to come on the show, especially after flying back across the country, but he will be desperately missed in this sport and in this realm. But going from a Debbie Downer to our second sponsor of the show, Tap That Tap Room. Phil, they're at 36-3. I said that wrong. 363 Delaware Street in Tonawanda, New York. Buffalo's first woman-owned self-pour bar. They feature 30 consistently rotating taps. They offer a variety of beers, ciders, seltzers, sours, and malt beverages. And I think that patio is open now, buddy.
And if you're listening to this on Thursday, a day early, but when this is being released, you may still have the chance to join the once-a-month Speed Puzzling Challenge, where teams race to finish a 500-piece jigsaw puzzle with prizes going to the fastest teams. You do need a ticket, so sign up as soon as you're hearing this, if it is still Thursday. PK, I would be horrible at that, but on Friday there is happy hour from 3 to 7 with the entire beer wall discounted, and then game one of the finals at 7:30 with sound on all the TVs and beer specials throughout the night, and then you can go back on Sunday night at 8 p.m. as they host a watch party for game two, no matter what happens, obviously, in game one. You can check out their other upcoming events on their Facebook page or head over to tapthattaproom.com.
Yeah, I know the Bandits released that they're having an official watch party, but there's no other better place than Tap That Tap Room. So, yeah, ignore them. Go to Tap That Tap Room and say we sent you. so we get pats on the back. But Bandits versus Rush, Friday at 7:30 in Banditland, Sunday 8 p.m. in Saskatchewan, and then if needed, we won't talk about this one, next Saturday 4:30 in Buffalo, again, if needed. Earlier this season, Buffalo did take on Saskatchewan March 1st in Saskatchewan. Buffalo won 9-7. You were right. I was wrong. I said it was 9-6 or 8-7 or something like that. You said 9-7. You were dead on. 4-2 after one in the Rush's favor. They were up 5-3 at half. Buffalo went on a 3-0 run in the third to take a 6-5 lead. Saskatchewan would tie it 6-6 early on in the fourth, but a 3-goal run by Buffalo would cap it off. Shots were 49-46 in favor of Saskatchewan. Faceoffs 11-9. Buffalo was 0 for 1 on the power play. The Rush, though, were 1 for 5. There was no Robert Church for the Rush. He was off with his wife, who was giving birth to his child. Their child, I should say. Matisse wasn't there. John wasn't there. McKay was back on defense. So these two teams looked a bit different even just 2.5 months ago. But Yannick had 2 goals. Kluch 1 assist. Like I said, McKay was scoreless, but he was on the back end. Wires 8 loose balls, 3 block shots, 3 caused turnovers. Byrne had 6 points in this one. Weiss and Martin both scored in transition. Smith had 5 assists. Vince 42 of 49 saves, but for Saskatchewan, it was Zach Mann's show. I mean, he scored 4 of the 7 goals. He was involved in 9 of the shots. They were able to shut down Shanks. He was 0-2 with 9 shots. Walter was scoreless on 5 shots. Keenan was scoreless on 6 shots. They did a very good job on the majority of the players, and we're like, okay, if we let one of these guys pop off, we should be good. But it's going to look like a different team and a different animal facing Saskatchewan on Friday night.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be a bit different. I mean, we've even seen just throughout the playoffs how different everything is. I mean, across the board. I mean, the Bandits, even as the number 1 offense headed into playoffs, have, really calmed down on what they've been able to score. They're not scoring 13, 14, 15 goals a game anymore, and it's not necessarily that they're playing bad, but the entire playoff system changes how everybody plays, and Saskatchewan is no different. And if you watched, any of the games that they've had recently, yes, they've been able to have some bigger games, but those are also comes with collapses of the opponent. So we'll leave those alone. But I think playing with no Church was obviously big, but we've seen it before with San Diego in the first round missing Courier in game 2 against Buffalo when they were able to squeak out that one. And then you come back to the playoffs, Courier's there, their whole team's there, Benesh was there. So we've seen Buffalo be able to adjust to a team that they played throughout the year, missing players, and then add a big player back into that lineup, and then Buffalo be able to adjust to that when it comes to the playoffs. So even though adding Church is obviously going to be massive compared to the first round, but at the same time, like you mentioned, McKay being on defense, he's been their all-star so far throughout playoffs and scoring goals. So I think that's going to be a whole different animal for the Rush to have to deal with that they didn't have to deal with in the first round. So while these teams are pretty similar, they have 2 pretty massive differences with Church and McKay from the first round, even though that first round was, during the season game wasn't all that long ago, like you said.
So how did we get here for Saskatchewan, and then how did we get here for Buffalo? We'll start with the Rush. Round 1, 13-9 win over the Swarm, 4-2 after 1. It was 6-3 Rush at half. It was 8-6 after 3. They were able to kick that one off. The wealth was spread around in that one. Game 1 of round 2, they won 16-7 over Halifax. It was 6-3 after 1. It was 7-4 at half. 5-1 run in the third by Saskatchewan to take that 12-5 lead. There were 3 penalty shots at the end of the game. They went 4 for 12 on the power play. It was a mess by Halifax. And then flash forward to just this last weekend, game 2 of round 2. They needed to take this one, or Halifax was going to force a game 3 on that Sunday. And we all talked about it on the last episode. Saskatchewan comes back from the depths to win it 10-9 in overtime. 4-3 Rush after 1. It was 5-4 at half. 6-6 after 3. No goals until the final 3:23. Hogarth would score 2 in 57 seconds to give the T-Birds 2-goal lead. Mann's got it down to 1 with 44 seconds to go. Messenger caused turnover. Barnable a loose ball. Hosick goal with 6 seconds to go. And then happy ending. Shanks ends it in overtime. But that is how Saskatchewan got to where they are in the finals to match up against Buffalo.
Yeah, I think the two games are wildly different. I mean, I think you have to kind of take out that first game if you want to actually kind of dissect the teams and kind of moreover dissect the Rush into what they look like in a close scoring game and what they look like in a more competitive game. Like they just kind of ran away with game one. So you can, in a weird way, I know it's playoffs, but kind of throw it out the window and move on to game two where it was much, much closer and an actually very interesting back and forth game. I mean, like you said, that insane end of the fourth, which all the scoring kind of came in, but even every single time the Rush kind of started to push ahead, it was Halifax that came back in that one multiple times, and they went ahead, and then it was the Rush that was able to come back. And I think, I don't know, more than anything, between the two games, which we'll get into more, is the goaltending of Chiliano. He's been beyond incredible, which is scary for the Bandits headed into this series, but the resilience of the Rush in game two, I think, really stands out as well. Again, yes, they were playing with house money with that. If they lost that game, it doesn't mean anything. But to see them put that much effort into winning with only 44 seconds to go, down 45 seconds to go before they scored, down 2, and to be able to come back and then win it in overtime was just really impressive. That being down didn't seem to faze them. And that is what a championship caliber team kind of looks like. That's what a more veteran team looks like, that they aren't bothered by that kind of lead even that late in the game. They stayed very level-headed and were able to tie it up and then eventually win. So I think, as much as I said earlier that, no one's really at the Bandits level as far as being a veteran team, I think they are closer than a lot of teams in the league as being one of those teams that they don't seem to get emotionally rattled all that often. And I think that's going to be a very big thing for them, especially going up against again, veteran squad in the Buffalo Bandits.
So how did Buffalo reach the finals? They were off last week. They won 5-4 in round one versus San Diego. They held a 1-0 lead after the first. San Diego would score the first 2 of the second to take that 2-1 lead, and then Buffalo would go on a 4-0 run, including the game winner by Cal Buchanan, a dunk from behind the net with .1 left on the clock. Both goaltenders were insane in this one, but Buffalo did get the edge and move on to round 2, where they had a date with Vancouver, and Matt Vince goes, "Hold my phone. I'll do it even better in round 2." They won 9-3 in the first game. It was 3-1 after the first. Remember, Vancouver scored first in this one. Buffalo would go on a 6-0 run all the way to the dying seconds of the second quarter, where Vancouver would score 1. Buffalo would answer right back. They held a 7-2 lead at half. Buffalo would score the only goal in the third quarter with 11 seconds to go. And then Buffalo and Vancouver traded goals in the fourth. And then flash forward to Sunday. The travel to Vancouver was not enough to quiet down the Buffalo Bandits. They won 11-9. It was an electric game where Buffalo did have to come back in this one. It was 2-2 after 1. Buffalo led 5-4 at half. Vancouver would take the 8-7 lead into the fourth quarter, where Buffalo would outscore Vancouver 4-1. This playoffs has been the story of two players. Ian McKay and Matt Vince have led the way and have been absolutely filthy. I know the defense has been absolutely lights out as well, so you can add them to it, but the two individual players to me have been Matt Vince and Ian McKay.
Yeah, and for the Bandit series, it's very similar to the Rush, especially that game 2. Again, game 1, to me, the story is the defense and Vince holding Vancouver to just 3 after allowing just 4 the game before. That's insane. But then game 2, Vancouver comes out of that second half on fire. They get the lead. They're at home. They're desperate for this win. If they lose, they're out. And the Bandits were able to weather that storm, calm it down, and then be able to take it over. And like so many people said, the announcer said even, like, the Bandits did what the Bandits do best, and they just ended up playing that veteran championship caliber lacrosse and was able to just quiet that noise down. It didn't faze them that they were being, there was a huge run by Vancouver to finally take the lead for them. Nothing really got to them, especially in an away arena that's been filling up really well. The attendance was well. It's a, rowdy atmosphere. but the Bandits stay very level-headed, and I think Vancouver only scored one goal in the last 24 minutes of the game. So you could see the Bandits were able to switch that off, just kind of turn it right around, do what they do best, take that, I think it was 4-0 run toward the end to get the lead back and then hold it and win it. So I think both ways, in both games, you see the more dominant team of the series go down in a tougher situation and then able to fight back. And I think, again, that speaks a lot toward both of these teams and just where their games are at and where their mentality is at as they continue to play. But McKay and Vince, my goodness, if you told me that Vince I understood and expected, and McKay's been elite for a long time, but to have him pretty much leading all forwards for the Bandits, I did not see that coming in the playoffs.
So we'll start going over some of the players here, and I'm going to change up a bit how we do this. I think Buffalo's only roster decision really comes down to, does Kyle Matisse play in this one? Is he healthy enough? He went from doubtful in the first round to questionable in the second round. He had that week off. I would anticipate he's able to play in this next one, but who knows what that extra week of rest does to the guy. But lefties is Ryan Keenan, Zach Mans, Clark Walter. That is who they run out. There is Levi Anderson, but he has yet to play. He's only played in 6 games in the regular season as well, so that will be the 3 that run out for the lefties. The righties, it's Austin Shanks, it's Robert Church, it's Mike Triolo, and it's Brock Haley. They also have Josh Sawada, so if somebody does get hurt on the right-hand side, expect him to step in their place. But that is the 4 they run, a 4 righty, 3 lefty type of matchup. My question to you, based on all this information, give me an X factor for Buffalo's defense that needs to step up for Buffalo to win this one, and give me an X factor for Saskatchewan's offense that needs to step up for Saskatchewan to win.
All right. Wasn't prepared for this at all.
I do have my 2 if you need more time.
Defense is tough because there are a lot of Buffalo defenders that could step up at any minute, but without the Rush really having that 1A kind of elite player, they don't have their Keegan Ball to shut down. I think Martin, while still extremely good and necessary on the team, becomes less of a focal point than he was, I think, in that series against Vancouver. If they chose him, I think Priolo ended up being one of the ones chosen to switch sides and go up against the stronger Vancouver side. But to me, you go first. I know.
So you mentioned
people,
Martin. Mine is more of a matchup, and to me, it's Justin Martin going up against Austin Shanks. And Austin Shanks just scored 8 goals in that last series, including a sock trick in Game 1. If Justin Martin is able to limit what Austin Shanks does, because he is so hot going into this series, he's kind of like the Ian McKay of Saskatchewan right now. If Justin Martin in that matchup is able to shut down Austin Shanks like they were able to, and again, it's not just Justin Martin, but I think he's going to be a big key factor on shutting down Austin Shanks. If he's able to win that type of matchup, I think Buffalo wins. If Austin Shanks is able to get the best of them, I do think that gives Saskatchewan a great opportunity to win in this one.
I don't know why my mind keeps going to Wires like he's not doing amazing things already, but for some reason he is jumping to my mind. The other one could be Nick Weiss, and I'll go with Nick Weiss for fun. I think he's been a little bit quiet, not necessarily in a bad way. Again, when you talk about defenders being quiet, that's okay, and he did score a few big goals, but I think that's where I'm going to lean in him being a big part of the defense. He's been playing really great defense. He's been great with the loose balls. He's doing all the things he needs to do. But one thing that he's been known to do more recently in playoffs is get that big-time transition goal. And against a team that loves to run transition, where it's going to be a very close series and you might need just that one extra goal to push things over, I think if he can get 1 goal in the 2 games or 2 goals, 1 goal per game, I think he could be kind of that X factor on defense just in the offensive standpoint.
So we'll switch over to the defense in transition. This defense is a very high-risk, high-reward type of defense. They are fantastic in the transition game. We saw in the round 1 where you had Jake Boudreau score those 4 goals, and he was a big key reason why they were able to get by Georgia. But you got Matt Hossack, who's up for Defensive Player of the Year, and as you're listening to this, he might have already been awarded. If he doesn't, they're criminal behavior going on in the NLL right now. Mike Messenger's always there. You got Ryan Barnable, who picked up the loose ball. Jake Boudreau, like I already mentioned. Holden Garlant. You got Bobby Kidd. I mean, this team is stacked from top to bottom just with filthy, filthy talent. To me, the biggest matchup comes down to what Matt Halsick is able to do versus a Dane Smith or a Josh Byrne. If he's able to shut them down, this is a series to me where you need your star players to step up and be star players. Buffalo hasn't needed Dane Smith and Josh Byrne to step up in this playoff so far. They need them in this series. If Buffalo is going to be able to win this finals, they need a Dane Smith and or a Josh Byrne to step up and be able to get by a Matt Halsick, get by a Mike Messenger, and put up those stats. And I'm not just saying assists, because assists are great, but we need them to each put up 2 goals per game in this series if they're going to walk out victorious.
Yeah, to me, also, you are not anything you can do about it, but just so you know, you're cutting in and out on
you
my
are as
broadcast.
well, so
yeah,
it's something to do with, I
got,
think we're all good.
Yeah, for recording purposes, we're good, but if I am sitting here waiting for you to finish your response and you're just frozen, just know I'm there. But anyway, I think my player is going to be Kyle Buchanan. Again, lesser known, lesser picked as far as the big guys, but he only has 1 goal so far throughout the entire playoffs. He had 2 games to kind of end the season other than Georgia, where he scored 3 goals and 4 goals, so 7 goals in 2 games, and so far he has 1 goal through 3 games. This isn't anything negative against Kyle Buchanan. We've seen teams adjust to what him and Dane were doing extremely well, which is that pick and roll. But to me, he needs to find a way, now that you've gone through 3 full games, he's gone through 2 full series where teams are keying in on him and what he was able to do, shutting that lane and that avenue down for Dane and for the Bandits. I think he needs to find a way to get back to his production. And again, this isn't saying that he's had a bad playoffs by any means. He's playing fine. He had that huge, end up being the game winner right before half against San Diego. So he's still playing really well, but I think he needs to start getting his goal scoring production up. If you can get that depth scoring from a player like Buchanan, who was coming on strong toward the end of the season and throughout the season. I believe he got his goal total forever. For his career, he had the most goals of his career in this season. So just want to see a little bit more of that from him. I don't need a hat trick. I don't need 4 goals. That's a lot. But if he can pitch in even 1 or 2 a game, I think that could go a long way in a close series.
So before we go over the goaltender battle, let's go over our third and final sponsor of the show, Totally Buffalo Store.
The Totally Buffalo Store's mission is to celebrate all things Buffalo with over 100 local artisans. They are your place to go when you need a gift for a friend or just want to be selfish and shop around for something for yourself. Maybe you should do that this week. They offer 3 locations: 3328 Sheridan Drive in Amherst, 3459 Amelia Drive in Orchard Park, and 467 Center Street in Lewiston.
Yeah, Phil was just hinting at why you should probably head down there and shop around and be selfish for yourself. They have 2 big deals going on right now. We made a reel about it that we put it on Tuesday. If you haven't seen it, go look for it, and we'll advertise a little bit more right here. 10% off all Bandits apparel and accessories through Friday the 16th. Why Friday the 16th? Because that's when they start the finals championship, their attempt at a three-peat. Totally Buffalo Store is the place to go to get all your stuff, to head down to the bank to represent and swag out for the Buffalo Bandits. Then go online. It's 17% off everything online through Sunday the 18th using code schedule release sale. All one word. You get 17% off everything they got online. Phil, that's a great deal. We were talking about earlier about the schedule release, and they're big fans of it, clearly. We're not big fans of it, but we are big fans of deals, and that's what they got going on right now. 10% off Bandits apparel through this Friday, so if you're listening to this Thursday, you still got time. And then 17% off everything online through Sunday. So go down there, save some money, represent Buffalo, because Totally Buffalo Store has everything you could possibly need to represent Buffalo here and abroad. Absolutely love it. You can't get the stuff at the big box stores. For anything else, check out their Facebook and Instagram pages and see what else they got. And to shop around for that 17% off, go to the Totally Buffalo Store. I'm sorry, just TotallyBuffaloStore.com. We'll go over the goalie matchup here. Frank Scigliano v. Matt Vince, 2 of the hottest goaltenders in the playoffs right now, 2 of the best goaltenders throughout the season right now. And I think that's a big reason why they're both up for goaltender of the year. If you're listening to this after it's been announced, you already know one of them has won it. So congratulations to them. Who is the third one in there, Phil? Who is the third goaltender of the year? Why am I blanking on who the heck the third goaltender of the year is? I'll look it up, but that
Rose.
is your goal. Rose. Thank you.
Rose.
I think it's going to be Frank Chiliano or Matt Vince. I think they're the favorites going in. But he's got an 8.33 goals against average and an 83 save percentage going into this matchup. He has been absolutely fantastic, electric, and all the other adjective words that you can use for a guy like Prison Frank.
Yeah, the big thing to me with this one is that he's a goalie style that the Bandits haven't come across yet in playoffs. You have CDB, who's extremely athletic. He bounces around everywhere. He's getting loose balls. He's breaking up fights. He's doing everything out there. And Origlieri, while a big guy, also very young, very athletic, was kind of all around his crease, goes out, goes back, side to side. Chiliano is much more of the Dylan Ward style, where he's a very big goalie, does not like a lot of movement, doesn't need to do a lot of movement. He's all about his angles and just getting in the way and making big saves, and he's done an extremely good job of that. And we've seen in the past the Buffalo Bandits struggle on offense to defeat this kind of goalie. Yes, Nick Rose is also a similar style, but the Bandits see him so incredibly often. I think both, Nick Rose and the Bandits kind of had the book on each other. The Bandits got the better of that, but they have not seen Chiliano nearly as much as they have seen a Nick Rose. So I think this could be a little bit difficult for them. I don't think it's going to be impossible. I think they could probably get, their more typical 8, 9, 10 goals against him. I think there's going to be some space. There's going to be some room to get some goals, but he's not going to be someone who's going to sit there and allow 10, 11, 12, 13 goals. It's going to be, in my opinion, a very low-scoring series, especially with Vince on the other side, putting up somehow even better numbers than Chiliano, whose numbers look incredible on paper as well. So I think it's going to be really tough for the Bandits to figure out how to defeat him in the best way, but I mean, they've shown that they can do it. I'm not horrified by the matchup, but Chiliano is playing very, very well, and I think he's going to be a good counterpart to Matt Vince.
So, Phil, we're at that point. Game 1 of the finals in Banditland. What is your score prediction?
I am going to go 9-6 victory Buffalo.
You weren't lying when you said a low-scoring game. I got them winning 11-8. So my question to you, Phil, here is Game 2, are they raising the cup according to your predictions in Saskatchewan, or are they coming home for Game 3 the following weekend?
This is extremely difficult. I really didn't think they'd be able to win it in Vancouver, not in a bad way. I just thought Vancouver would be able to regroup at home. They didn't, and Buffalo's going into a very similar situation to that again. For some reason, they've been extremely good on the road this year. You've already gone into Saskatchewan and won an away game. I know very different circumstances, but they did win. So I'm gonna let them end it. I am gonna let them sweep. It's probably going against my gut right now. That says that it's probably going to be a Game 3 series, but right now with the way Buffalo's playing, I'm going to give a similar Vancouver style game back and forth against the Rush in Saskatchewan, and I'm going to go with same score. Go 10-8. 10-8 victory. Maybe 10-9.
Believe you're still frozen now. There you are. I don't know why Riverside's acting up so bad. What was your score prediction? I missed it.
Originally 10-8, but we switched it to 10-9 while I was frozen.
10-9 while you were frozen. Victory. I got them losing 10-8 coming back to Banditland in Game 3. I would not be mad if they do end it in Saskatchewan. We do not see them raise the cup because we've learned past history that rooting for Game 3 just to see them raise it on the home floor was a sad, sad ending. But because Riverside's acting up, we're going to try to wrap this one up. We got our final or possible final milestones of the year. The fastest milestone minute, which is probably going to take 2 minutes because there's plenty of them. All these possible milestones can be found on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. We post them leading up to each and every game. So if you miss one and you don't want to listen back, you can check for them there. And away we go. Steve Priolo plays in both games this weekend. He'll move into fourth. Dane Smith plays in both games. he will move into 6. Paul Dawson plays in both games. He'll move into a tie with Colin Doyle and Dan Dawson, his brother, for 7th. Dane Smith is 5 goals away from tying Curtis Dixon for 3rd place. Josh Byrne is 3 assists away from tying Colin Doyle for 6th place. He's 4 away from tying Mark Matthews for 5th. Dane Smith is 2 points away from passing John Tavares for 1st place in NLL playoff history. Josh Byrne is 2 points away from tying Mark Matthews for 8th. Steve Perillo is 11 loose balls away from tying John Tavares for 2nd. Nick Weiss is 11 loose balls away from tying Steve Toll for 10th. Nick Weiss is 3 caused turnovers away from tying Dan McRae for 10th. Matt Vince is 4 minutes away from 3,000 for his NLL playoff career. He's 2 wins away from reaching 40 for his career. He's 18 saves away from reaching 1,000 for his career. And he's 1 win away from 20 for his Bandits playoff career. If Chase Frazier and Justin Martin and Matt Vince all play both games this weekend, they will all pass Billy D. Smith and Rich Kilgore, all tying for 6th place in Bandits playoff history. Token Anacoke is 1 goal away from tying Mike Kersey for 7th for the Bandits. Ian McKay is 1 goal away from tying Darius, got it right, Kilgore for 9th place in Buffalo Bandits history. Kyle Buchanan is 1 goal away from tying Ryan Benesh for 10th in Bandits history. Chris Cloutier is 3 assists away from tying Mark Steinhaus for 4th. Nick Weiss and Ian McKay are both 1 assist away from tying Darius Kilgore for 7th place in Bandits playoff history. Kyle Buchanan and Token Anacoke are 1 point away from tying Darius Kilgore for 7th in Bandits playoff history. Ian McKay is 2 points away from tying Darius Kilgore for 7th in Bandits playoff history. Josh Byrne is 13 loose balls away from tying Jay Thornberg for 10th place in Bandits history. 2 more. When John Tavares coaches in both games this weekend, he will pass Mike Hazen for 3rd place in NL playoff history. And if he wins both games this weekend, he will tie Derek Keenan for most wins by an NLL coach in NLL playoff history.
A lot of insane ones. I did not look at the time, I'll be honest with you.
It's pretty good, though.
It did seem like you're moving pretty well. Give you some credit there. Matt Vince, real good at lacrosse. I don't know if you already knew that. And Darius gave you a lot of practice in this one. His name came up quite often for you to really nail that name down and not call him Darius. But you did a great job on every single Darius that was out there. Well,
I got called out last week. Rightfully so, but I've also explained that in my bio. I'm the one that butchers players' names. We'll always do it, and that's why I'm not a play-by-play man. But Phil, final thoughts before wrapping up this episode on this weekend final series for the NLL, both as a Bandits content creator and an NLL fan in general. Yeah,
it should be a lot of fun. I mean, when we hit record on the episode and our theme song came in, it was like the first time I started getting truly excited for the finals. It's been a very long wait. That week off, while great for the Bandits team, was a long week off. And yes, it was nice to get some Sabres content in, but it's been a long time coming for this final. So it's nice to finally feel that excitement again, get a little bit excited as it gets closer and closer. And I am just really ready for a great series. I think it's going to be a very good series between these two teams. I think they match up well against each other, and it should be a lot of fun. Again, enjoy it. This doesn't happen all the time. Every single time the Bandits get to the championship, could be their last one for a while. You do not know. So take it all in, enjoy, and go Bandits.
Yeah, I'm not going to be a Debbie Downer here, but and I'm not even going to mention names, but when you're sitting in your seats or watching the games played on Friday, just remember that some of these players are older, and the time in this league are slowly coming to an end. Whether that's this year or next year, this could possibly be one of the final times that you see them in a Buffalo Bandits uniform. I'm not naming names, not saying anything concrete. I'm not even hoping for anything, but we said this a lot last year and the year before that and the year before that. You never know when your time is up in this league. So as fans and people that cover the team, you want to recognize that. And like you said, this does not happen very often. This is not a common thing, so appreciate it. But I do think that we are in, as fans of the league and of the sport, we are in for an absolutely electric weekend. I asked Pat Gregoire about this one a couple interviews ago on, do you like this current format where it's 2 and then 1, or do you like the past format of it's 1 game each weekend? And to me, as a content creator, I love the 1 each weekend because you get to draw it out. You get a little extra lacrosse action, a little extra time covering the team. And I mean, honestly, we could get coming back. Again, our episode will be airing on Tuesday next week because of the late game, but we could be coming back next Tuesday either talking about a sweep by either team or heading to a game 3. So our in-season coverage of this team could be wrapping up as we're speaking right now. But good luck, drive safe, head down to the bank and represent the Bandits, and then head down to Tap That Tap Room to watch the party on Sunday night, and head to Totally Buffalo Store to represent the BSC, represent the Bandits in the black and orange. They got a ton of stuff. But Phil, anything else with this episode before we wrap it up and get ready for a long Bandits weekend?
Close it out, rest up, have fun.
That concludes this episode. So again, we will be back Tuesday for our reaction episode, not Monday, Tuesday, because the NLL absolutely hates our guts. If my score prediction's right, we'll be previewing next week for Game 3. If Phil's prediction, will hopefully be partying nonstop on the Tuesday show and try to contain our emotions and try to organize it as well as we possibly can, even though it never goes well. We've had 2 shots at it, and we botched both of them. But that will conclude this one. We'll talk to you all on Tuesday. Thank you all for listening to another episode of the Buffalo Sports Collective. Thank you to Tap That Tap Room, Totally Buffalo Store, and Phrase Flowers for sponsoring this episode and this podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. Visit our website at buffalosportscollective.com. You can check out our store on our link tree on our socials, or at the shop tab at the top of the website. Follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts, and make sure you leave us that review on Apple and Spotify. Till next time, remember Tuesday, go Bandits. Till next time, goodbye.